Okay, this is a test of FL Studio with Hypercam up to see exactly how it works. So I have a song open here, and this right here, this window right here, is essentially the one where you input your instruments. And for example, basically where you put in keys. So once you have an instrument, in order to record, like say you come up with playing the keys here and you want to record it. So basically, like I already have something recorded here, but to get it open, you right click, you go to piano roll, and as you can see, I've put some keys in here, and this little cursor right here, over here in the top right corner, will expand it if you go up and contract it if you go down. You can see that in action here. So for example, we're going to play this. That's a little bit loud. Sorry about that. So you can see it works. I'll give you a demonstration in a new file, but first, basically, like you have these, and you can click on this right here. It's a left click, and you can click Insert One, and you can name it, and you press Enter, and then basically, like it creates a new one. So I'm gonna go into this one and give you an example. So say you're wanting. Okay, this up here is your tempo, and basically like this tempo right here will you can click on it with the left click and go up or down by moving the cursor up or down. Now this right here is the pitch, and so if I turn this pitch down here, and you can go lower or higher. Here's the volume, the master volume, and I'm going to be showing you the mixer that this program comes with. So basically, like in order to delete a pattern, you select it by clicking on it, and then you go back up here and you delete it if you make a mistake. So like that one was just an example pattern. For drums, you take the sound sample and you move it over here, and I'll show you how that works. I'll go down here to my drum samples, which is going to be on the left index, and say I want the bass drum. So I go, and I already have a bass drum here, so I'm just going to drag it and drop it right there. And there we go. And then basically, you click the space bar to unpause it and to play it, or you can click this. This does not, never use this button right here. This is not how you output from FL Studio. Okay, so basically, like, once you have your pattern selected, you can go up here. This is your song right here. This is the main thing. And in order to switch it to this, so you're hearing that, so you can press the space bar and basically like get it playing, you go over here. This is the pattern, which is this, and then this is the song. This is like all the patterns you put together into a song after you save them and output them. So, for example, I want the celestial. Now let's listen to just this pattern here. Okay, so basically, like this is the celestial. You know, I have other patterns here as well, like choir, and I'll show you how to get your instruments going here in a moment. But for simplicity's sake, I'm trying to make this a shorter video. Basically, like you say, I wanted to add the choir, I just pretty much left click to add it, right click to make it go away. If you're wanting to paste multiples of them, you switch to that tool, and you see I can just do that like that. Now then, basically, like this tool only adds one at a time. See, and it moves it around too. This one pastes multiples. So we're gonna exit out of the song here. Eventually, I'll make you a video to show you how to do the tempo and changing it automatically during the song and all kinds of things. This right here is your master mixer. So basically, in order to add something to the mixer to give it effects, you're going to go here. I already have it in a certain channel, and then you go over here and you say assign free mixer track. You click that, and then basically that to get there, it's you click it. You go over to the channel settings, and you have an arpeggiator here that works. I can show you how to use that too. Just request, and I'll make a video for you. And then basically, like, you have a volume for each channel, and then basically you go, like I said, assign free mixer track. You click that, and that will bring it up here. So, for example, I had that set to mixer track number 2. So basically, like, it being set to mixer track number 2, it essentially like links it up. So if I want to play the Celestial real quick, oops, and go to the pattern, you can see it's on channel 2 whenever I play it. Now, say you wanted to make this particular synth sound different. You have reverb here. That's the size of the chamber and the shapes of it for the reverb to take place in. You have bass and decay. That's usually what I use in reverb. And if you want this on or off, you can go here. There's also a parametric EQ that I use very often. I'm sure you can figure out how to use that. It's just going to take a little bit of time learning the basics to this program. Feel free to ask me any questions you have. And without further ado, I'll get out of this particular one. I'll show you how to put instruments into this right here. So there's more samples in FL Studio. So what you do is you just go through this index they have here. And for simplicity's sake, I'll recollapse the structure. So this is what you'll start out with. This is what it'll look like. So for instruments, you go to plugin database, you go to generators, you go to synthesizer, you skip all of this, you can go through that later. You can go to subtractive, there's PL Zone, which is good, Saw, which is good, and Citrus, which is good. So for example, we're going to drop Citrus right here, and that brings this up. Now Citrus is set to a preset. Basically, like you go right here, go to presets, and here's all your actual instruments. This basically, you can select out of all of these, and for example, I want Hypersaw Heaven. So, that's basically how this works. You have multiple different things. I wouldn't mess with this. I haven't figured this out myself. This is pretty much like, I forget what this is called, but I use this sometimes. You might check that out and just how it changes the sound. You got to click that button to turn it on. That's Citrus. This is how Citrus works. So we're going to replace Citrus here with PL Zone. So this is PL Zone. This is another instrument type synthesizer plugin that you have here. So it's set to its preset, which is an arpeggiator. So to get out of that, you click right there, and then you scroll down, and then basically like you click on the key that you're looking for, or the keyboard synthesizer that you're looking for. So I like this one. So basically, like, that's PL Zone. This makes it an octavier. So everything sounds better in octavier. So, like, if you're ever working with this instrument, be sure you just click this right here to where it's on. And it has that little red button come up. So, but yeah, that is PL Zone. Now we're going to go to Saw. This is another good one. So to get So to work Sawr, the way this works is basically like you click right here, and it opens up all the instruments. So you select out of these. I'd select Tunnel Synth. It's one of my favorite ones to use. It's one I made myself out of some of the instruments they have in here. So yeah. So that's the rundown for FL Studio. If you're looking for sound samples for your like drums and whatnot, you go to packs and you have all of these. But what I recommend going to is Legacy. And that's the path you use to get here. As they have some pretty good ones. Let me see here. What am I looking for here? And you can also add that of different instrument packs you get called samples for music online. There's a place I saw online somewhere, if you look around, that gives out free music samples. Like drums, snare drums, sounds of them that you can add in here. And again, how you make this work. So for example, I'm in Celestial. It's playing here. But if I wanted a drum in here, I just click this. Now, what you always turn this right here on. This makes it to where when you're in the pattern, listening to what you have right here as you're making it, it basically like it repeats and it gets your drums going again. This right here changes how long the pattern is. So 8 is a good one. I use 8 and I use 4. So we're going to extend that to 8 for this drum sample. And you can right click on this and you can click fill each 2 steps. And you can hear it playing there. So I'm going to add a snare right here and a snare right here. I'm going to click on the hats and have that fill each 2 steps. Now I'm going to undo that for this tom drum here, and I'm going to click fill each 4 steps. This is the kick I use. So that's what that sounds like alongside this. And as you can see, it went through every single portion of it in the drum making machine, and then it looped back to the beginning here. So that's what this button does. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this basic rundown for FL Studio. There's other things you can do, but that should get you started with it. So I'm going to go ahead and exit out of it here. But before I do, I'm going to show you again real quick how you export a song. So if you're done making your song, what you need to do to export it is you go down here, you go to Export, you go to MP3. So you want it, you title it, you click Save. But I guess I need to, yeah, there we go. And basically, like, you'll want it in this right here. You'll need to click this before you open this window up. You always set the MP3 bitrate to that of the highest. You don't mess around with any of this other stuff. Set it to MP3 or WAV. You don't mess with a MIDI or OGG. And then you click background rendering or start, and it will start rendering your song out. So, for example, you go and you this is your recent projects. So, for example, I want to open God Machine, so I click it. It opens up all of your stuff here, and then basically to get to the actual song itself that you're making, you click this button. This button brings up your pattern here. This button, just in case you need it, brings up the piano roll, but I wouldn't recommend using this one right here. I'd recommend right-clicking on your instrument and then clicking piano roll, because that is where you record all of your notes next to the instruments that you input there. So, for example, this sound clip right here is going to sound. Sacred Sky TC is another part of PL Zone. It's a good one. You can scroll all the way down. Sacred Sky TC right there. It's another good one. You might use it. It sounds pretty good. In Octavia, it sounds better. So then you want to export this. So you click Song. It's going to sound exactly like this. You can skip forward by clicking at the certain marks. And you can see that's the Sacred Sky TC that we just played in the pattern, and you paste it here. So that's just an example. I'd recommend opening some of my clips, my songs and whatnot that are in the projects under the data folder, basically to give yourself a little bit of a rundown on like what exactly to use, some good synths and whatnot. They also have other things like if you're looking for a piano, they have a classical piano, but I don't personally use it. I can show you around this program pretty easy. You just got to give me a call. So that's how you run FL Studio at a very basic. Thank you for watching and listening.